For the longest time, the story of AI has just been about getting bigger and bigger. But what if the next giant leap forward isn't about size at all, but about being smarter? Okay, let's dive into some brand new research that completely flips the script on how we think about building powerful AI.
I mean, it's the question that's kind of hanging over the entire tech world, right? We all see these absolutely massive, super powerful AI models. And the natural assumption is, well, to get smarter, you just got to keep making them bigger. But is that really the whole picture?
The reality is, we are in a full-blown AI arms race. Everyone is rushing to create these giant, monolithic, single-brain AIs. But honestly, this whole approach is starting to hit a wall. The cost to train and run these things is just astronomical. And even with all that power, these giants have their own blind spots and limitations. So you have to ask, there's got to be a better way, right?
Well, what if that better way is to stop thinking about a single, genius AI and start thinking more like an orchestra, with a really, really smart conductor leading the whole show?
Okay, so check this out, because this slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you've got the old way. One massive do-it-all model. Yeah, it's powerful, but it's also kind of clumsy and wildly inefficient. But on the right, we've got this new idea, orchestration. Instead of one giant brain, you have a small, nimble conductor. Think of it like a project manager that knows exactly which expert to delegate each part of a task to.
And here's how it actually works in practice. A person gives a complex problem to this central orchestrator model. Now, this model is surprisingly small, but it doesn't try to solve the whole thing by itself. No. It acts like that perfect project manager. It analyzes the problem, breaks it down into smaller pieces, and then assigns each little subtask to the absolute best tool for that specific job. Maybe that's a web search, maybe it's a code interpreter, or it could even be another, more specialized AI.
And yeah, this whole groundbreaking approach has a name. It's called ToolOrchestra. It comes from a brilliant team of researchers over at NVIDIA who are totally rethinking how we scale up artificial intelligence. But here's the thing. You can't just plug this in and expect it to work. You have to actually train the AI to think like a manager.
So, how do you do that? You can't just take a standard AI and tell it, hey, be a good manager now. It actually takes a very specific and pretty clever training process to turn a regular model into an effective delegator.
The secret sauce here is a technique called reinforcement learning. Now, if that sounds complicated, don't worry. The simplest way to think about it is like training a puppy. The AI tries to solve a problem. When it makes a good choice, it gets a little treat, a reward. When it makes a bad choice, it gets a penalty. You do this thousands and thousands of times, and eventually, it learns the absolute best strategy to get the most reward.
So what makes a good choice for an AI project manager? Well, the ToolOrchestra team defined it with 3 key rewards. First up, correctness. Pretty simple. Did you actually get the right answer? Then there's efficiency. Did you solve it quickly and without spending a ton of money? And third, and this one is really cool, preference. Did you actually follow the user's instructions? Like if the user said, don't use that expensive tool, did you listen? This teaches the AI not just to be right, but to be smart, efficient, and obedient.
Now, this special training solves a really fascinating problem the researchers discovered. It turns out big models often have what's called a self-enhancement bias. Basically, they play favorites. They tend to just call on their own family of smaller tools. But this reinforcement learning approach completely breaks that bias. The orchestrator learns to be a totally neutral manager, picking the absolute best tool for the job, no matter who made it.
Okay, so that's the theory, right? A small, smart manager model leading a team of specialized tools. But does it actually work in the real world? Well, the results are, honestly, they're pretty shocking.
Okay, look at this. Get ready. On a test called Humanity's Last Exam, which is just a brutally difficult test of complex reasoning, the little 8 billion parameter orchestrator model actually outperformed a leading monolithic model that is many, many times its size. Just let that sink in for a second. The smaller, smarter manager beat the bigger brain.
And here's the kicker. It wasn't just better. It was 2.5 times more cost efficient. It got a higher score while using way fewer resources. I mean, this is a huge deal for making powerful AI something everyone can actually access.
And just to prove that this wasn't some one-time fluke, the team tested it across other big industry benchmarks like Frames and Tau2Bench. And look, the pattern holds true. The orchestrator consistently, clearly beats the performance of the bigger model, all while being way more efficient. It's just win-win.
So what does this all mean for the future of AI?
Well, it kind of suggests we've been thinking about the path to superintelligence in a very narrow, maybe even the wrong way.
The huge takeaway here is this. The future of AI probably isn't going to be one single, all-knowing intelligence. It's much more likely to be a collaborative ecosystem, a team of highly specialized AIs, each one an expert in its own little area, all working together perfectly under the direction of a clever, efficient conductor.
So why should you care? Well, it means AI systems could become way more affordable. It means this kind of powerful intelligence could be accessible to everyone, not just giant corporations. It means we can build AI that's actually customized to our own needs and preferences. This isn't just a small improvement. It's a whole new way forward, a more scalable and maybe even more powerful path for building the AI of tomorrow.
I think this one quote from the research paper really just says it all. Intelligence emerges not from a monolith, but from a composite system. It's about the power of the team, not just the size of the individual.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. As this technology keeps evolving, maybe we'll all become the conductors of our own little AI orchestras, picking and choosing the specialists and tools we need for any task we can imagine. So the question isn't just how big is your AI anymore, it's who's on your team.